Hi again. This is the second video to explain how to create questions using simple present tense. Remember that we have two types of questions, what we call yes-no questions and WH questions. What are yes-no questions? Well, questions that can be answered with yes or no. Very simple. If I ask you, like, do you like pizza? Right? You say yes or no, right? That's a yes-no question. If I ask you, do you play soccer? The answer is yes, no, maybe, okay, a little bit, but the answer is short, right? So we're going to start with those questions, yes, no questions. The same, we need to follow some rules similar to the ones to write sentences. We need to make the difference between he, she, and it, and you, they, we, and I. So when we have a subject, or the subject is he, she, or it, the structure is, I like to say like the formula is, for a yes-no question, is does at the beginning. We always need a does. And remember that we use doesn't for the negative. So here for the question, we use does. Does plus the subject plus the simple verb plus the complement if necessary. Remember that the complement is sometimes necessary, sometimes is not. And remember, what do we need to have a question? Of course, a question mark. If we write a question without a question mark, that's an incorrect sentence, right? We need to have a question mark at the end, otherwise it is not a question. Okay, so let's write an example. An example would be, does Peter, is the subject, does Peter watch complement horror movies? Question mark. Okay, that's a yes-no question in simple present. I'm asking, does Peter watch horror movies? Maybe he doesn't like them. Maybe he does. Okay, but the person who is going to answer my question will say yes or no. And we also have a structure to give that answer, okay? We can say yes, subject, does, or we can say no, subject, and since this is negative, we need to use the doesn't. Okay? Those are the only two possible answers. Like in general terms, those are the two possible answers. We can say like, well, he kinds of like, or well, sometimes he watches some horror movies, but not that frequently. Okay, but basically we can say yes or no, and these are the structures. If the answer is affirmative, we say yes, he does. If the answer is negative, we say no, he doesn't. And then if we need to add more information, well, we can say a complete sentence, right? But in short words, right? In short, these are the answers, right? And this happens with he, she, or it. We can say, does Ellen the same? Yes, she does. No, she doesn't. Does, well, we have to change the subject. Does the boss and that would be my question. Does the bus is one thing, is singular, is an it. So does the bus arrive, that's my simple verb, on time? Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. We can say something like, no, it doesn't. It is always late. Okay, that's an example of no, it doesn't, and then I add extra information. No, it doesn't. It is always late, for example. Okay, so that's basically the structure that we need to use to create yes no questions in simple present. We always need does at the beginning. Subject, simple verb. Remember, a simple verb is a verb simple, okay? It doesn't have s, it doesn't have es, it doesn't have ing, it doesn't have anything. It's a simple verb. Remember that the s is already here. And my complement. What happens with other subjects? With I, you, they, and we. Well, we have the same, but we change does for do. We say, same color, we say do plus the subject plus a simple verb plus complement, and never forget question mark at the end. Okay. So we can say like, do you travel? Simple verb, complement, a lot, and question mark. I'm asking about your routine and about what you usually do. Do you travel a lot? Right? Do you travel a lot? I have do, subject, you. Simple verb travel and complement a lot. And the possible answer, the same. We can say yes, subject, do, or we can say no, subject, doesn't. And that's it. So, do you travel a lot? Yes, I do. No, I don't. Or do your parents live here in Costa Rica? Your parents, plural. That would be they. Do your parents live here in Costa Rica? Yes, they do. No, they don't. Yes, they do. No, they don't. That's the answer. Remember, those are yes, no questions. And that's it. Okay, so what do you need to remember? Does at the beginning of the question for he, she, and it, and do at the beginning of the question for they, you, we, and I. And in the answer, we use the same subject that we use here. For example, here is an it, so it does. And here, if the subject is plural, we need to say, okay, my parents. Parents are they because of ellos. So I use they in the subject here. Yes, they do. No, they don't. Okay? So these are the yes, or yes, the two options for yes, no questions. Now we are missing only the WH questions.